back, and well, Miramar has been done. That portion of the day can be moved aside, making baseball noises because
for the week, to be fair, it's gone.
Yeah, pretty much. It's over and done with. We're on to Erangel, but right now we're on to Sanhok. That's coming up in just a bit. Sanhok, yesterday was a little bit interesting, wasn't it?
It can go all over, can't it? It's yeah, that circle initially. I mean, I'm all for it. Just kind of throw it into the wind and let them shoot each other to death. It was a hard, I will say it was a hard ending to kind of watch and break down anything that was going to happen. There's nothing really special about it as such because of the staircasing kind of scenario that you have off the back of the rice fields. Generally speaking, no one's going to be down there, circle up from their way. So very kind of stalemated towards the end, but still, it's look, it's a different map. It's a different kind of game altogether when you're playing it.
We like variety.
Yes, and you have to adapt, and you have to be adaptable.
Yep.
Some of the best players in this game are the ones that can adapt and control any situation that's thrown in front of them.
You're pretty spot on. I just want to see the circle. I'd love to see something a little bit kind of crazy like we had. The initial circle was pretty wild yesterday. Global warming or not, who knows what caused it. I'm sorry.
No.
See, it's like, you know, there's the balance of doing, like, we like fun things, right? It's like we like, you know, slightly more interesting circles where it might, you know, put a player under pressure. We don't like, you know, maybe, I don't know, mech suits, for example. That's pretty poor to put in a game. So, I mean, you know, there's like a line, right, where you can do things that are competitive and still fun. And there's probably the other line that's just not, right?
There is. There's always a line. It's whether or not you go across it or not. Pushing boundaries. I'm all about that.
Too old to be casting that game anyway, it's fine. Don't think I'd fit on their Nickelodeon shows.
Building complete. Building complete. Building complete.
I do like Minecraft. Maybe I'd fit in well. Building. Great.
Oh, yeah. Who knows?
I have been playing Minecraft again. It's been very weird. Been enjoying it. Alrighty. Who's walking away with this one? I'd like to see Liquid do well on this. Just considering where their drop is. Quite central. Tends to get a lot of the circle action. Nice to see him maybe pick up a victory here. But, you know, we saw a couple of other teams waking up a bit. FaZe looking a little bit more deadly. Liquid looking more deadly. ENCE having a bit of a day as well. May not be on the huge placements, but they're getting the kills. They seem way more proactive. Let's find out. We're seconds away, Rich. Take us into it.
I hate to be that guy, but for me, there is... look, we have to play devil's advocate, and we talk about both sides of the story and both sides of the coin. Straight up, Sanhok is very circle dependent. If you get a very good circle, you can get a very good placement on the map. Because it's quite a hilltop friendly map, you'll find these compounds at the foot of them. They'll be giving us problems, or at least they'll be giving the players problems. It restricts their movement, it restricts their ability to rotate. So the circle does very much tell the tale and does dictate how these players play this map. Yes, you might say, well, that's just the same as every other map. With this one, it's extremely restrictive. And that's because of how little map there is to play with. It's the playing path will also be a big factor here. Many teams will have to get a bit of a long shoot. You can get these, you can kind of go where you really want, to be fair, unless it's somewhere like Camp Bravo, might be a bridge too far. Hence, we're now seeing Desperados locking themselves up against the coastline, excuse me, where they will be, actually, unfortunately, maybe yeah, I think they could actually be gatekeeped here. You've got NIP and the Knights. That will be in front of them and they try to advance. Yeah. But really, it's all about this first initial circle. Where does it go? Oh, we've got a bit of a hot drop. G2 and DA.
Yeah, they're very close by. Ooh, that's a bit different. There we go. And Vector v Vector.
It's not the new patch yet, boys.
Shut up, let me have some fun. What's wrong with you?
I wasn't aiming at you, I was aiming at the players.
I actually really like... Wait.
Get Sigered. Cross-map Siger. Love it.
Bro, does he have like the 6 times on it or what?
Oh, that's amazing to hear. Boom, boom, dead. The thing is, though, at this level, with no armor, the shotguns are by far the most deadly weapon. For the first minute of the game...
Oh, they're absolute filth. Actually, oh, mate, have you seen the new gun that's going to get the Braexco on, the Uzi? Not, you know, the patch coming out? First couple of minutes of the game,
Garrett,
very
look,
important.
that's why you should have a shotgun skin. It works. And they've got the second one as well. Yep, they have. Chris, 1, 2, thank you. DA, just like that.
Oh, Braexco, please.
Oh, no.
Please. Please. Or a UMP with a 4 times. Any of this stuff makes me really happy. It's like watching Twitch Rivals.
There's two, so there's 2 UMPs. We got Vectors, Zygers,
Braexco,
UMPs.
please.
This
No,
is basically
don't
the new
switch
patch.
out.
This is essentially the new patch that we're watching. And what? Where's that from?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, that's usual looting spot for M47. That's just across the way.
Well, this is the thing, right? G2 were close enough to barn that they were going to die anyway. If anyone goes to barn, you die. That's how it works. You go near barn, you die. If you ever looted barn, have you ever gone there? There's always people nearby.
My brain cannot take all like the puzzly maze kind of effect of it. I stay away from it completely.
It is too complicated for me.
It confuses me. Very much so.
I actually am so excited to see the SMG patch. Like, I say this, right? It's purely out of personal bias, because do you remember the start of PUBG? I was saying this to you before, when everyone was absolutely garbage. You used to be able to have those 15-kill games, you felt like a god. Now everyone is like a sweaty nerd, so you actually can't do it anymore. I had a game where I picked up the Vector, got it fully geared out, the stock, and everything feels great. I had like a nice 15-kill game. So in my mind, best patch ever. Now that's purely personal bias.
I like how it just makes things viable and we're just changing things up. It's great for the game. When things start to become quite stale and repetitive, and we did at one point basically just have a mini meta. Every single, I mean, it's not too dissimilar really, that everyone's rocking a mini. Like on this map, you'll generally see quite a lot of QBZs and QBUs, just because they're so strong. But if you're going to throw this new patch into it and you're going to make all these guns potentially viable, I'm all for it. Shake it up, make it fun. You want to breach a compound, that's fine, but if someone's going to be sat behind the door with a Vector, you have to be ready, because that thing will tear you in 2.
Or a Sega at this point. Or crossing a road, 200-meter shot, easy clap.
The long-range Saiga. What is going on?
Big snipes.
What is happening?
I always just love how the silencer, or the suppressor, should I say, looks on it.
I'm still triggered to this day. It was a nuktive. Oh, I'll hold
on, yeah. Speaking of... Ooh, no, that's a bit of poor driving. Oh, no! What is going on? Na'Vi ripping ENCE apart. Their parking was very poor. Every tree just got absolutely smashed into, and then so did ENCE.
You'd be getting a ticket from me, and it's stolen. Oh, no, it's not. Excuse me.
It was just wanted,
angle.
yeah.
I do apologise. It came up at the wrong time. That was a different kill elsewhere. Well, ENCE are dead.
You got to thread the needle when you're in the cars. It's See, this is the thing, right? People underestimate the one player who always drives the car who doesn't get you killed. You never appreciate that player because, you know, they just don't mess up.
Oh, Ultra.
Where have they just found Liquid? Where have they just found them?
2 members of Liquid that just dinked them both. We know Ultra's a bit of a marksman when he gets a weapon in his hand, but with the DMR, that's 2 back-to-backs onto Liquid, which will cause them grief. At the moment, it's all in the south. I can see on the map we have Na'Vi behind FaZe Clan. FaZe Clan going toe-to-toe with the Knights in front of them. Then, basically, in a huge shambles of a mess, NIP, Desperados, TSM, Team Liquid, and now 7. They are all within throwing distance of one another. So this is going to go off in a big way very soon. The mop-up will come through for Team Liquid. I'd expect them to also lose Gempty here, so that'll be 2 going down very early game. 5.5 minutes, if that. And it just shows you the power of this gun. This is probably all you're going to see on this map, and you should get used to it. Unless it gets nerfed, that and the Mini, for me, could use the slight adjustment, slow it down just a tad, force people to use snipers, please, because I enjoy them. To be fair, the SLR is just the backup, isn't it? You just fall onto that. But that thing's still a machine.
See, it is difficult though. If you want to kind of talk bigger picture about how to you look at how guns perform, right? I was seeing this thread, I think it was either on the normal PUBG subreddit or the competitive one, I'm not sure, about why pro players use the thumb grip more often than not, whereas most people will look for the vert grip or maybe angled or half, you know, any of those, because these guys are an incredible shot, so they'd rather have the ADS time over, for example, the recoil adjustment, because they don't need it so much. So it's these small things. Fins and trees, better duo. Hit me up. But no, it's these small things that do make these guns seem so powerful in their hands.
It's little nuances, isn't it? I didn't even think about it, to be fair. And I just read the exact same thread that they're absolutely fine with the aim. They know how to kind of control it, even though there's no direct spray patterns. They know how to keep it within arm's reach and get the damage done. So yeah, why not shove that on there and make use of the ADS time and pull it out quicker and crack on. Yeah.
It was actually ENCE who I was speaking to last season really early on, and they were saying they were one of the first people to really pick it up a whole lot as well. So it's good to see that kind of now commonplace throughout quite a lot of PEL. Anyway, we are going to be looking across this one because a lot of the teams are trying to shuffle down a little bit further. GamerLegion G2, CrowCrowd still out of the new circle. A lot of this is centralized on the south side of this. You want to look at a bit of a kind of, I guess, one of the big blocks of this map, basically on the south side. If you want to look at, you know, the kind of overall chunk of it, it's pretty busy.
We're moving into circle 3, so generally speaking, we should be able to predict where this circle goes because there's water that runs around the curvature of the map. So this should, in theory, go northwest. In theory.
It should do. It's why you're seeing teams happy to play somewhat close to the edge of it, because it should have to shrink in towards that side.
That's what I mean. They don't have to really move too much, do they? They can kind of play edge because it's going to come their way.
Oh, Na'Vi are about to get piled in on. It looks like Reciprocity in this 2-2 split have good angles on both sides of them. They're not close, so it's not easy, but a couple of tags came out. Deer does get humbled, though. As you can see, the return fire coming in towards BestLodge, but still, Na'Vi need to be careful where they step here. They're going to start getting more and more attention. Most, for now, is coming from Reciprocity. The Knights could maybe find a bit of involvement in this as well if Na'Vi headed further north here in towards more of the hills. Beyond that, though, this kind of, I guess, southwest side is so busy from like Sanmi. I always call it Narfam, so I'm just going to have to stick with it because that's what I say it anyway. Like, this whole southwest area is going to be so busy with teams just because there's already so many down there. So moving in towards that big block of hillside in between the roads is going to be deadly for most of the teams there if they have to move away from it.
Everyone's kind of been held in and pinned in by one another at the moment, which does give quite a lot of freedom in the north, to be fair. Painan is totally empty. CrowCrowd's there, so is G2. Raise your edge, play your edge. Slow and steady wins the race, but unfortunately any further into the circle, they'll be met with a huge pack of players. They have to be very careful. All 4 members of FaZe Clan, they're bunkered in. M47 is surrounding them, so they have to be careful once they leave the safety net of that compound, but I don't think they will be for at least the next circle or 2. And speaking about long distance and long reach splits, Reciprocity, Scoom on his own, Udia on his own, and Shiver Monkey chilling in Bantai. They are super split. I like that.
I always like call and return. It just makes me happy. Call and return. Do it again. Someone else join in on a third team. Join in. Stop trying to kill each other. Just be friends. Oh. No, they're actually just firing at people. Okay, so Desperado seeing Raise Your Edge. They're going to be kind of pinned here a little bit, Raise Your Edge. Got to be careful. Lynxie's in a bad spot. The rest could maybe bail him out. SIMSY's out on his own. And the rest of Desperado can't really move too much. And there's pretty much a circle shrink. Moves away from water as much as it can. And it's going to just really centralize up.
The Knights will be absolutely loving life at the moment. Time for them. You can see Lynxie. Oh, taps him in the head at the best time humanly possible because the blue's ticking away and he wanted to advance forward. SIMSY holding him back. Damage done. Sadovnik in the kill feed. Bjorn's gone. That's a 249 in play. Level 3 gear. Pulled up at a crate earlier on. Needs to make it worth it. Pick up a few frags. Maybe you can move off the bottom of the board because at the moment they're having a difficult season. Lynxie with the confirmation. That's 1 point easy. Thank you very much.
God, there's still 50 players in this. Oof.
Come on, Fex, hit him.
Car 98 against the MT49. Finesse and beauty in the Car 98 and just like brute force on the other side. miikaz in the combination with SIMSY there, going to completely flush out Calvin Klein. So the Desperados are really suffering here, even though they are currently in the circle. Razor Edge going to make the push. SIMSY just leading the charge. Ultra quaky in his boots, just holding that compound, doesn't want any of it. And the finesse of Fex pays off. Going to make it count, hit the shot. I like seeing sniper rifles on this, but what you don't like to see for 7 is that sort of situation. Getting on your vehicles this late in the game, risky. Razor Edge make the push. They did lose out on SIMSY, at least on the knock. Not going to get flushed. Good, he's back on his feet. Nice play from Razor Edge, working their way in. Here comes the push as well from GamerLegion. Trying to sweep their way through. Sadovnik did get revived, so he's back up and ready to go. Drayden's had a nightmare somewhere, but now let's see if 7 can hold themselves together.
I'm wondering if that level 3 helmet that he picked up as well is now being knocked off, because if it has, that's going to be that utility not put to good use whatsoever. Ival finds Aitzy. That's the M24. So a couple of snipers, a couple of marksmen, been worth the weight in gold currently. All of G2 chilling. Sadovnik at least answers back in the kill feed. You can see the nade goes down. Give me the point, Samtip. Thank you very much. We'll confirm that one. To the Knights it goes. Now mxey has turned up on that fight earlier on we saw with GamerLegion and 7. So the third party is a real thing and we expect it to happen. And you know what? They're actually dead. They're gone.
TSM's
so that's
pushing
not
this
gone
though.
their way whatsoever.
Look at Iro as well. They're all really close by. You guys can't see it right now. This is in the southwest side. The blue moving in. That's going to be 7, TSM, Razor Edge, and NIP off in the distance trying to get in on this battle. So again, 7 down to 2. We do see Razor Edge trying to make their way in. Sadovnik says no to SIMSY and mxey. Big pickup here. Sadovnik trying to confirm those. Buster on the other side. miikaz still alive. Kolementa still alive, but getting across this road, not going to be easy. You still have Rory there, Gustav there, all looking for this. 7 are somewhat safe. They're not in the new circle, sure, but they at least have some cover. But look at TSM waiting in the wings.
Yeah, I like this. That's a really good setup. Michael isn't with the rest of the roster, and that's for the simple fact that he is on the backside here, watching for anybody who wants to try and third party into TSM. I'm fine with it, because I think with how much damage these two teams are going to do to one another, they're basically just going to kick the hell out of each other and then turn up to TSM and die happily.
Oh, you've made noise. Oh, you've made noise. And right in the pocket it goes. Kolementa, easy on that. Buster now left in charge. Wait, I saw miikaz. Surely I didn't see miikaz with a flash.
That's 2 flashes. I'm
getting flashbacks. That worries me, but he does need to make the push. Buster is sitting still in the house. He's not moving just yet, but fire coming in from afar. That's going to force Razor Edge forward. And miikaz, I think, and Kolementa were never going to make it too far with it. I think it was NIP maybe joining in. I'm not too sure who actually hit those shots towards them. Speaking of NIP, in the action they go, trying to find their way forward to G2, further up in the north right now. And 7 still stay alive, even if it is just Buster.
I did see Iro just stepping over the wall. Yeah, there he is. Easy kill. Thank you very much. TSM's side is clear for now. The problem is the next obstacle, Reciprocity. They're in the compound that is just to their eastern side. NIP also having difficult times. They're in an uphill struggle and G2 is on top of that mountain. We'll see how they traverse this and where they make an entry point. Because if they come too far to the south, they will hit the side of TSM. To be fair, that actually could be really detrimental. The ping pong effect essentially being moved away by one team, but been accidentally flooded into another. I'm trying to think of the topography down there. I think TSM's okay. I'm sure they'll have some
they're fine to run up
play
on.
With. Yeah,
they've got the rocks either side.
Yes, okay. Now I've got it where they are. So they've got a safety net, but the problem is where is NIP center? They're essentially going to walk into a fight, and that fight will dictate which way they go.
Yeah, this is where you kind of don't want too many fights because you're probably going to lose out on a couple of players or a couple of teams. I think TSM is getting the attention from Reciprocity now down in the south. They got line of sight at least maybe on Iro, I'm not too sure. A couple of shots coming their way. NIP are starting to get towards the circle as well. They're going to be trying to work their way from that western side. They went further north. They got the knock earlier on one of the G2 players. So you can see in the mini-map there, this is just the Knights sitting central. They're not going to be doing too much. They might take some shots out of these buildings, but it's not really going to be showing too much. These are the rocks I'm talking about. Big old rocks to work your way forward from. That hillside can be an issue because you're going to see line of sight towards G2. And then, of course, NIP. Would they want in on this? I don't know. Gustav right now going to try and run up under the covering fire, the supporting fire from his team. He will be on the full, I guess, the roll-off side of the Knights, but it's going to be NIP. They actually get gifted a bit of a circle here, but look at CrowCrowd, Rich. They're sweeping in the north.
you really do forget until we go to these overviews how much cover there actually is. I know it's third-party central because so many teams, I mean, 34 players alive for this one's a hell of a lot. But now the close combat engagement will decide who is the surviving team here.
Oh, CrowCrowd.
On the floor, waiting, gets spotted, waited way too long. He does have his teammates there. They're also just hiding in the grass. Steps up, steps out. That's rather unfortunate, CrowCrowd. They have the upper hand in this fight. The grenades, they will go down. Miraku and his partner MBS, they need to do some damage. There needs to be a response here. Don't get team wiped without picking up a few points before doing so.
G2 are pushing. G2 have come away from where they were. They want to deal with this threat. They have the high ground to look down on this fight too. I think they're going to take the contact towards CrowCrowd first. That might throw a spanner in the works. We're going to find out how these line up. But there's another third party. They went to get involved. And now it's gone terribly wrong for G2. This has fallen apart. They had 3 players standing. They had advantageous positioning. And they got a bit greedy. They went out for the kills. They wanted in on the fight. They wanted to secure that northwestern side. FaZe says no. NELLOZ now needs to play survival mode.
A little bit bloodlust. They tried to clear their side, and they join in and jump in for the third party. But they don't check the angles. They don't smoke up and deny line of sight for FaZe Clan. FaZe takes full advantage, takes one away from them. And the rest is history. NELLOZ will have to sit this one out on his own while his teammates fall victim to the engagement that just happened. Drop has come in. It's on top of FaZe Clan. Straight from the other side as well. Ubah still at range. Takes down a member from M47. There is more there to happen though. Reciprocity also getting involved. Wanted steps in. So all of a sudden M47, they are down the barrel of the gun to 3 different teams. And out they go from the server. 9th position will be their grave.
All right, let's keep you updated because this has been a bit hectic. There goes the final member of NIP. They were trying to hold on. CrowCrowd basically won that fight. G2 maybe could have leapfrogged them and maybe held that side, but no, FaZe third party. So this north side is CrowCrowd, G2, and FaZe. Towards the south, it's a bloodbath. Reciprocity, I think, with still 4 alive. Yes, TSM, 4 alive. The Knights, are they 4 or 3? 3 for them. They lost down Drayden. The Knights have the circle, though. James is just pruning his survival. He's not going to do anything beyond that. He might get found by FaZe, but it's not him going to be doing the killing. It's the southern side. I want to see how TSM and Reciprocity approach this circle now.
So FaZe Clan will kind of accidentally hold CrowCrowd in the position that they're in just due to constant fire. They might not be able to get any knocks out of it or necessarily any kills, but they will keep them in this position. Reciprocity, however, have moved on to TSM. They've got the initial knock onto Michael. They're not actually pressurizing that fight. I'm okay with it. Instead, they are making best use and getting into the buildings next to the Knights because that's the fight that they want to take. If they need to get into the circle and they want to survive here to late game, they have to remove the Knights from the server. They hold the spot, they hold the compounds, they hold the keys to the door.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard, though, for Reciprocity to get to the eastern side, because FaZe probably can see that. We'll find out how much damage gets done here. Shiv already with a bit of an angle, but very low on ammo. Not ideal when you got the MK. That'd be lovely to take late game and really do some damage with. Confirmation towards Iroh goes towards the pockets of CrowCrowd here. TSM holding on as best they can. Not quite in the circle yet either. Bit of a problem for them. Gonna have to find a way in. The CrowCrowd in the north and in the south, you have either the Knights or Reciprocity all out for their heads. Do
you have to kind of question waiting for the 7 fight earlier on to pick up a mere 1 point? Was it really worth it? Because it's essentially put them in this position now where they were late to the circle and they're dead in 7th. That kind of is a little bit of a flop. We'll stop now. We'll move back to this one. Rec do have to make an entry point into this.
Oh, Wanted just went big. He just said no. Big denial towards Reciprocity, trying to funnel in towards the house. This should be a counter push time. The Knights should push this and just get it done and dusted with. You can see him trying to make the play now. That's what you should be doing. And now he's going to put the kind of, I guess, the gun towards Reciprocity's head. Monkey tries to barrel in and it goes very poorly. The Knights hold on. And I've got to say, credit where it's due. Wanted, Reals, they all came together at the right time. Yes, it was a bit sloppy, it looked a bit messy, but they did what they had to. It's hard to hold it in those situations. And now FaZe have quite a big upper hand. They lost out on mxey though. He was their gatekeeper in the north. NELLOZ will kind of keep them safe to some extent, which is kind of surprising, but they have a weird position on the hill. Look at CrowCrowd. They do have high ground, but they don't have circle. So it's going to be hard to play into this. And the Knights get some respite. And that's the best thing for them. They can just take their time, get the HP back, get some loot, get ready, and think about that next circle.
NOOKIE falls to the blue as well. That's problematic. This thing chunks. It's going to start hurting. For mxey falling, I think he's done his job. NELLOZ also making this life a hell of a lot easier for FaZe Clan. They've heard him, he's made some noise, and they're hunting.
Into the blue.
Yeah, they just said, you know what, let's take him out and get rid of him. He does.
Look at the Knights, look at the Knights. They had time to think and push out, really well played. Leaving the compound at the right time, they could see that there was an issue with CrowCrowd, they're under fire, and now we're down to 3. James is still alive, he's been sunbathing, he put his towel down real early by the pool. He knew what was up. We have FaZe with 3, and the Knights with 3. Reels is trying to get some good territory here. This is quite an even split if you look at the way the terrain runs. So both having quite nice high ground position. Low ground, I guess, is favorable to FaZe as they do have Aitzy there. But there's ubah. We're going to find Reels. In the open they go, and Wanted now being pushed forward by the blue. You got to keep moving. The molly could be good, but the timing, it's all ubahs. He may be on fire, he may be burning, but they still have players standing. And more, James becomes relevant to all of this. He strikes while the iron's hot. Fuzzface punishes Wanted, gets the points in the pocket, and we're going to be seeing James trying to go big here.
And he could do it. There's casualties on both sides. Gets the knocks, but now it's time to move the box
so
out
open.
of it, unfortunately. Hammer comes down from the side of FaZe. ubah puts him in the grave, and now it comes down to Sanhok. 10 kills on the board, 1 versus 2 scenario.
He's going to have to do something phenomenal here. Not easy at all. Look at these positions. Good bait on the peak. Really well done. 14 bullets to play with, and time is not on his side. It's FaZe to pick up the win in a game where they definitely needed some points to start going their way.
Nice job in the end. ubah still with those long distance shots. It's lovely to see. Small note that once you see James picking up another one, he got the knock off there. They didn't get the confirmation on the flush.
Yeah, he got it on the Knights, didn't he?
So Liquid actually do steal a point during that engagement and does him a favour. But still, fantastic game from FaZe Clan. It's good to see him keeping and sweeping. And even when you see mxey, when he goes down in that scenario, he's kind of giving it up for the good of the team. He's done his job. Yeah,
he did what was required. And thankfully, we found out what Fuzzface's settings are like. We now know how to win games.
Yeah, it's actually quite a good point.
Yeah,
I'm going to go home and change everything.
Were you playing on ultra settings?
I like playing at 10 FPS, all right? Leave me alone.
I still have that issue of always wanting every game of mine to look like dirt. If it doesn't look somewhat like Quake, it ain't right. It looks like FaZe are ready, and hopefully Sam is as well. She's heading over there. Let's head down to her and find out how FaZe are feeling.
I wanted to chat to Fuzzface, but as I walked in here, he was like, no, we're changing this up. Talking about changing it up, you changed your pace there towards the end, slowed right down. We knew that Knights were the ones you had to take out. We knew they had control of that compound. What was the thinking of that? Because we saw it slow and then you made the push. So walk me through the last fight there.
We saw them killing CC, and then we were free, and we saw it was 7 alive, so we thought it was 4 Knights. But then James was snaking on the south side there, and he got me. But ubah played it really well and got 2 early knocks on Knights, so that kind of saved the game.
James also helped you a little bit because he got a knock on the Knights as well. So does he get a piece of the chicken?
Yeah, I would say so.
I want to be cheeky and say it's the closest they've come to a chicken dinner now, but just for this week. But I'm pretty sure they'll bounce back. How do you change your play style now when you're on the circle, whether you're on the outside or if you're in the center? How do you guys change that up?
We usually play that compound, but like most of the times it goes west. But we really wanted to be a little bit more proactive this game and play the east side of the compound on the hill before Navi was fighting ENCE. But first got knocked in the back from Knights, so it kind of stopped it from happening.
There we go, chicken dinner for FaZe Clan. Let's take a short break, and when we return, the desk will break this game down.
FaZe with their second win on Sanhok here in as many times, a third even I should say, as they've been able to do very, very well for themselves on this map as a whole. I think even the most successful team when it comes to the map here so far in Phase 3. Very impressive stuff from them, getting another win. Froz and Avenger. Thanks for that Froz save, Froz. I appreciate that.
They got 1/3 of the win so far on Sanhok.
Yeah,
Sanhok is their best map, actually.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and the worst map is still Miramar.
And yet, Fuzzface is still one of the most vocal that he thinks that some of the changes need to happen in form of settings and stuff like that, new map. So them being able to adapt that fast talks a lot to how good FaZe Clan is as a team.
Let's talk about the opening of this game though, because it was a bit mental.
Oh yeah, I mean, ENCE basically trying to rotate and Na'Vi denying that very much.
Let's rewind a little bit down to when DA actually got knocked out. DA had not the best start of the map today. I mean, we saw them straight away. It was within 3 minutes. They got wiped out totally in the start there. And that's not how you want to have it. I mean, even if you get contested, you need to make sure that you can deal at least some amount of damage, get yourself at least 1 or 2 kill points there.
I'm surprised those contestings are coming in. You know, we've had quite a few games of Sanhok now. I suppose some of these teams are shifting around, moving around a little bit, etc. But that was like a hard crossover of that actually going on.
Well, it's not too surprising, honestly, because you can catch people off guard.
Yeah.
If you know how a team is dropping on a compound, you can know that, okay, they only have 2 guys in that compound. If we drop all 4 there, we can contest that. We can take that away from them by surprising them, and they won't be ready because they're going to have 2 guys somewhere totally else.
We didn't see that before. Mr. Ubah with a little bit of a dance around things out there. Our 9th through 16th place. Only 2 teams get themselves 0 points. It was DA and ENCE, both teams of which got smashed in some of the early moments of that game.
The thing with ENCE, though, is that they were trying to cross that bridge that Na'Vi was at. And you got to know, those are the biggest choke points on the map when you need to cross over the rivers.
A little bit more foresight required here for that movement as we have up to the top here. As much as FaZe Clan did get themselves the chicken dinner, Pittsburgh Knights were able to greet and meet plenty of players coming towards their compound, and they were very central for a long time, perfectly understandable, and also greeted reciprocity in kind when they tried to take their compound.
And even Drayden tried to kind of pull some of the players back towards G2, came to his kind of the tower, the high ground. They wanted to both have the compound and the high ground position, but Drayden got finished off quite quickly with G2 pushing that. So them being able to do this as just 3 was really impressive, especially with reciprocity being able to step up like that. Big game from Wanted right there.
You were mentioning, Froz, that you would have liked Pittsburgh Knights to have greeted teams to their compound a little bit more violently as opposed to letting them get all the way up top.
Yeah, we saw that.
Way too friendly with greetings.
Exactly.
Well, okay, it goes back a little bit. First of all, Drayden being solo up there in the tower.
Yeah.
That is just, I don't know what they were thinking, honestly. We're playing on Sanhok. You can't just have someone solo playing over there. As soon as he picks up his head there, he's going to be seen from at least 4 different directions. He's going to get shot down. No one can rest him up. Now, after that, when we saw the shift going up towards the north there, Knights, they had that compound. The last house on the south there was actually just outside the circle, and they should have been in that house, making sure that reciprocity couldn't even get to the compound itself.
Avenger?
And top killers here. Wanted 6 kills.
Yeah.
I like to see Wanted, especially with a normal size picture.
I'm gonna say I feel like there's been some overcompensation.
Exactly.
He's smaller, and they progressively get bigger as you look down the row. Like
Lynx is the big one there.
Okay, maybe. But Wanted is definitely the smallest. Anyway, it's just so weird. It's so strange. I just really want Big Head Wanted back.
I really love that. That was good times.
Yeah, it was a great time. It was a great time. I want more nostalgia for me, please. I'll take a big serving of nostalgia all the way to Phase 1.
Yeah, it's like,
you know?
what?
Where's my rose-tinted glasses for Phase 1? No, this phase is much, much better. Of course, going on now, that is Sanhok basically completed. That was a very, in my mind, a very slow game of Sanhok. Everybody chose their positions that they wanted to in Phase 2, Phase 3, and from there, once they were forced to move, they kind of come in and either died or like had a lot of critical wounds dealt to them. So there was some fighting in the beginning, but it was a very steady game of Sanhok. Is that fair?
I mean, we saw Digital Lytics eliminated within 3 minutes because they were in a fight so early.
Yeah.
We saw some fights on the edges, but basically all of the teams, they know we need to make our moves in the first and the second phase. We know where to move because how the settings work.
Yeah.
So they position themselves extremely well. Knights again in this compound. We've seen them from this compound come in I was second or third place before, where they had a few amount of kills. In another Sanhok game, so they know this area as well. I like to see FaZe positioning like they did. Played early game very slow, took a compound. Played the late game very passive to make sure they had all 4 lives, and then just swept the zone.
So when we're on Sanhok, you can basically see it as like you're standing in a line, or as you would say it, in a queue. What I mean with that is that if you're first, you'll go to center. If you're a little bit later, you'll be towards the edge. If you're very late, you have to wait until the edge team has moved in.
Yeah.
That's when you move in and take their position in the line, and then you keep on moving in like that. And that's basically what we saw in this game here. Some of the teams that were moving in a little bit later, they didn't get to fight as much because of that.
Makes sense. Let's take a look at the overall tournament standings here so far from the games that we've had. Not only